You were holding up the letter that Barack Obama had left you.
Right.
Seemed like a lengthy letter.
It was.
And you seem to have a personal rapport with him.
I like him. He likes me. I think he likes me. I mean, you're going to have to ask him, but I think he likes me.
I don't know if he'll admit this, but he likes me.
How do you know he likes you?
I like him because I can feel it. You know, that's what I do in life. It's called, like, I understand.
That was the high point of Donald Trump's strange, years-long relationship from afar with Barack Obama. When he finally became president, Trump, who has for years despised and disparaged the 44th president, whose legacy he vowed during the campaign to tear down, suddenly seemed really worried about whether Obama liked him. It was a strange scene, precisely because Donald Trump spent most of this last 8 years obsessed with Barack Obama for very different reasons.
Why doesn't he show his birth certificate? And you know what? I wish he would, because I think it's a terrible pall that's hanging over him. He should show his birth certificate. He may have one, but there's something on that birth, maybe religion, maybe it says he's a Muslim. I don't know.
He is the founder of ISIS. He's the founder of ISIS, okay? He's the founder.
We're led by a man that either is not tough, not smart, or he's got something else in mind. And the something else in mind, you know, people can't believe it. There's something going on. It's inconceivable. Right. There's something going on.
It's even believed by Trump friends and associates like apprentice alum Omarosa Manigault that Donald Trump ran for president in large part because Barack Obama mocked him at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in 2011. And who can forget Trump's inability to get past the difference in his and Obama's inaugural crowd sizes? Not surprisingly, this week we learned that Trump is still measuring himself against Barack Obama. 6 European diplomats told BuzzFeed News that Donald Trump's foreign policy decisions are driven almost entirely by his predecessor. It's his only real position, one European diplomat said. He will ask, did Obama approve this? And if the answer is affirmative, he will say, we don't. He won't even want to listen to the arguments or have a debate. He is obsessed with Obama. That obsession was on display today when Donald Trump was asked about South Korea.
Certainly they feel more reassured with me than they do with other presidents from the past, because nobody's really done the job that they're supposed to be doing. And that's why we're at this horrible situation right now.
And if that's not enough, Donald Trump literally compared himself to President Obama this week, retweeting a totally unscientific poll that asked, who is a better president of the United States, President Trump or President Obama?
Have you ordered any change in our military readiness?
I don't want it to say. I don't talk about that. You know that. I'm not one that says we're attacking Mosul in 4 months.
Joining us now is Alberto Nardelli, the Europe editor for BuzzFeed News, who broke the story on what European diplomats really think about Donald Trump. And back with me, Christina Greer and Jonathan Alter. So, Alberto, your story was, first of all, congratulations on a great story. You quoted lots of diplomats. One quote from your article, you said on one level, the official said Trump is something of a laughingstock among Europeans at international gatherings. One revealed that a small group of diplomats play a version of word bingo whenever the president speaks because they consider his vocabulary to be so limited. Everything is great, very great, amazing, the diplomat said. But I think it's the Obama piece of it that caught a lot of people's attention. What were people saying about his sort of weird orientation toward Obama? Is it envy? Is it jealousy? What is it?
Well, they didn't. First of all, good evening. We didn't talk a lot about the reasons behind Trump's obsession with President Obama. Mostly the thing that a number of diplomats mention is this, they consistently mention is this obsession that he has with Obama, that in a discussion he will ask, did Obama agree with this? And if the answer to that question is affirmative, he will say, I don't support this, and won't even want to have a discussion about whatever the topic is. And how also consistent is how concerning this is for America's European allies.
And did you get the sense from talking with these diplomats that they're concerned that Donald Trump is changing foreign policy from the things that Obama did, or that he just simply doesn't want his name brought up?
The concern is on various levels. So if you look, for example, at the Paris climate deal or the discussions now around the Iran deal, there's the risk of unraveling agreements that Obama signed up to and which American allies are signed up to also. But also in terms of the bigger picture, if you take a topic like trade, for example, lots of Obama's positions reflected positions that America has held for decades. So the current administration is unpicking positions on big issues that America has always held, and this is a deeper level of concern for European governments.
And one more, to quote your article, that these diplomats are saying that Trump has no historical view. He's only dealing with these issues now and seems to think the world started when he took office, according to one diplomat. So essentially the idea that he's sort of shallow in his knowledge of the world.
Absolutely, and I think the issue of not having basic understanding of key issues and a sense of history, so a lack of understanding, for example, around NATO's presence in Europe and why there are historical reasons for that, but all of that is compounded by the fact that there is a sense amongst European governments that there's chaos in the White House. The president isn't surrounded by enough experts. There are lots of vacancies across the administration, and from a European government point of view, they don't know who to talk to. They don't know who to engage with, because, for example, you know, in Europe, we've had odd leaders too. Italy used to have a prime minister called Silvio Berlusconi, but one diplomat told me with Berlusconi, we laughed at him, but then we knew who to talk to. With Trump, they don't know who to speak to, and his aides contradict each other, and that compounds this problem in terms of the lack of basic knowledge of issues.
Yeah, indeed. Well, Alberto Nardelli, congrats on the story. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, let's bring in Jonathan and Christina. You know, there was a recent Pew poll that talked about confidence in the United States president, Trump versus Obama, and it isn't even close. In Germany, only 11% expressing confidence in Trump, 86% at the end of Obama's term. France, similar, 14 versus 84. United Kingdom, 22 versus 79. I mean, Christina, this is a president who is batting zero when it comes to our European allies.
Right. Clearly, these stats won't be in the folder that he gets every day.
The good news folder.
The good news folder. You're so great. The adulation folder. I mean, I think, you know, that point is really well taken, though. When you have your 36-year-old daughter and son-in-law as your, you know, consiglieres speaking on your behalf, and they have zero foreign policy knowledge, they have zero domestic knowledge, when you look at his cabinet, these are people where it's like, I like you. I had 2 conversations with you. Let's make you a cabinet member. You know, these are people who have no experience whatsoever. This is a really dangerous position. This is a position that, you know, Democrats warned us about before the election. And I think this obsession with Obama is, let's just be clear. Donald Trump race-baited Obama for 7 years, right? The birth certificate stuff. We're not even going to talk about how he race-baited the Central Park 5. He has a long history of this. He fundamentally thought this 45-year-old black man could do it. Of course I can do it. And he is not a student of history. He's not a student of politics. And again, he's not a public servant. So how can he walk into the office when he's asking basic questions as is, how big's your country?
Yeah. How many people live you got? And Jonathan, you know, when Barack Obama came in, he was somebody who was not that experienced. How was he able to build these relationships? They seem to be quite good across Europe.
Oh, because he was willing to listen to them, to, you know, use their wisdom to learn. What's really dangerous here is the Iran deal unraveling, because then we'll have 2 nuclear confrontations in the world at the same time. And dealing with Iran and North Korea simultaneously, if you think we're scared now, wait till that thing unravels. So it's extremely important that the people around him, not just in the White House and in his cabinet, but in the Senate, and they are starting to speak up, that they contain Trump. Remember containment of the Soviet Union? The goal now is contain Trump. And we all have to figure out how to make that containment policy
And we know
work.
that Congress has a lot of power to rein in a president, but if you just think about what Donald Trump has been able to do already, withdrawing from the Paris Climate Agreement, which has been really bad for our relationships around the world, banning transgender military personnel, reimposing the travel restrictions in Cuba, ordering increased deportations, lifting the ban on coal leasing on federal land, rolling back waterways protections, tougher sentencing for drug offenders. I mean, he's already having a negative impact, because he wants to reverse the things Obama did.
And he's trying to even take away monuments and, sort of like protected land. I mean, here's the thing. The beauty of the Constitution is that there are trapdoors built in. The Founding Fathers anticipated a Donald Trump. And so in Article 1, 2, and 3 of the Constitution, they built in all these trapdoors to make sure if we got a Donald Trump, Congress has to step up and do their part. The courts have to step up and do their part. What we're seeing, though, is a breakdown in Congress actually stepping down to really put on these parameters to the president. I mean, the president realistically has the veto power and the executive order. Everything else, Congress actually has the power to really rein this in. They've got the power of the purse. So if he says he wants to do certain things, they can either not fund it or they can start passing some real, putting together some real laws to make sure that
they can even change how much control he has over the nuclear codes.
And they certainly
can make it harder for him to start a war.
They certainly weren't shy when Obama was the president. Just saying. Jonathan Alter, Christina Greer, thank you very much.
You're holding up the letter that Barack Obama had left you.
Correct.
Seemed like a lengthy letter.
It was.
And you seem to have a personal rapport with him.
I like him, he likes me. I think he likes me. I mean, you're going to have to ask him, but I think he likes me. I don't know if he'll admit this, but he likes me.
How do you know he likes you?
I like him because I can feel it. That's what I do in life. It's cool. But there's something on that person, maybe religion, maybe it says he's a Muslim. I don't know.
He is the founder of ISIS. He's the founder of ISIS, okay? He's the founder.
We're led by a man that either is not tough, not smart, or he's got something else in mind. And the something else in mind, people can't believe it.
Liked him. It was a strange scene, precisely because Donald Trump spent most of this last 8 years obsessed with Barack Obama for very different reasons.
Why doesn't he show his birth certificate? And you know what? I wish he would, because I think it's a terrible pall that's hanging over him. He should show his birth certificate. He may have one. Like, I understand.
That was the high point of Donald Trump's strange, years-long relationship from afar with Barack Obama. When he finally became president, Trump, who has for years despised and disparaged the 44th president, whose legacy he vowed during the campaign to tear down, suddenly seemed really worried about whether Obama...
There's something going on. It's inconceivable. Right. There's something going on.
It's even believed by Trump friends and associates, like apprentice alum Omarosa Manigault, that Donald Trump ran for president in large part because Barack Obama mocked him at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in 2011. And who can forget Trump's inability to get past the difference